Yo, it's Guido. Happy Wednesday morning. I'm actually making this video on Wednesday morning because, well, I'm behind, folks. I am so very much behind, but we're getting these things out, and here it is. At least it's my day off. Gonna get a little streaming in, get a couple videos made so we can have some in the hopper, and off we go. So I'd started to decide. I decided to start with Ziggurat, who is anonymized. I wish we could see their name. Interesting thing about the anonymizer, guys, and I think you've probably seen some of this, it actually creates some controversial names on occasion. Well, I won't get into it, but no, I don't want to repeat some of the names, but it has, being something coded by humans, and the way they decided to do it, they have mined a certain database that has bad names in it. And sometimes the combination becomes offensive. Imagine that. Anyway, they're working on that, trying to kill off those. If you do see an offensive nickname anonymized or created by the anonymizer, please send in a ticket and they will delete those out of the database as fast as they can. And I assume they'll add stuff as they go, but the interesting consequence, unintended consequence of the way they did it. Okay, let's stop talking about the anonymizer, which of course is silly, just so you know. Oh, that's just going to irritate so many people. I love it. I love it. I'm feeling a bit curmudgeonly this morning. So we'll chuck a grenade or a rock at the anonymized folks starting off. So Zig is anonymized. You can tell by that little eye. I don't know even know what that is. It's like an eye with a slash through it. He's with Unspotted, both of who? Something. Both have been featured in my videos before. I don't know why they've split up. They're going to have to let us know. I'm sure there is some higher order thinking genius plan going on here that I am not aware of. But they are top tier. So it's not as bad potentially as if they were middle to bottom tier, and that may be their thinking. Hey, let's put power on both flanks and see what we can do. And you can see Zig is driving his TS5. And I haven't featured the TS5 for a while. Right after it came out, I put some content out. We had some games from people. It is a pretty darn good Assault TD. With all the limitations that Assault TDs have. But we are here on Live Oaks, and he's pushed into the town up here in the northwest. So we're going to watch what Zig does. He has some backup, but it's not a lot. Now, this fight in the city used to be a big deal on this map. Now it's kind of a sideshow, unless you do it right. But let's see what happens. Zig just takes this heavily armored behemoth and keeps on Wing. So here's to W. All right, folks. Let's have a little coffee drink in the morning for Mr. W. Now he runs into an HTC and the IS-3, and just look at this, right in that weak spot, that flat plate, that little angle. Cheek, shoulder, whatever you want to call it, piece of armor. The T-28 HTC does a smart thing and tracks him. But unfortunately, it was all for naught. Because his second shot he wasn't able to pin. He wasn't shooting gold, by the way. Probably should have against this thing. Or wasn't aiming well, or simply just had a bad placement of the shot. Comes in there, puts a shot on the IS-3. Look at that little wiggle just to make it difficult for the IS-3. And what is a pretty fearsome tier 8 heavy tank gets absolutely massacred. And then the arty starts paying attention. So let's stop and see what's happened here. While the green team didn't bring a whole lot into the city, they brought enough, and they only faced two, looks like two red tanks. And that's a recipe for disaster, really. I would call this the secondary kind of theater on this map during a match. But if the enemy doesn't send anybody there, they're going to be in trouble. And right away, you're down an IS-3 and an HTC. They have killed the T-43 and looks like a CMCD somewhere. I'm assuming down there where Unspotted is certainly spotted up there, kicking the snot out of everyone, hold down in his Carnarvon. Would have been nice actually to get his replay and do a double on this one. I just thought of that, right? I just thought of that. That's one of those situations where you think of the right thing to say right after. You know, somebody insults you and you're mad, and then they walk away and you're like, oh, I should have said this. If only I had said this. That's always after when you're sitting there at 1G, right? You're sitting there at 1G and you have time to think, and all of a sudden you're very clever. You're not so clever in the heat of the moment. Like something else comes out of your mouth. Like, you big dummy head guy. All right, W is involved once again. And they're winning on every flank. So splitting up the platoon didn't matter here, did it? Because they're winning on every flank. And this is just cleanup on aisle 2. Just a nice, easy, breezy, light, and sneezy. That's not... How is it? Easy, breezy, light, and... No. Easy peasy, light, and breezy. Oh, don't go after the turret of the KV-3. You have to appreciate that he's only used regular AP. Hasn't even bothered to press 2 as Mr. W gobbles everything up. I want you guys to watch this. This was great right here. This was great. So, yeah, we're winning on both flanks. It's very permissive. It's nice to watch W just roll people over. We're doing kind of an easy, light one today. But I liked what he did right here. Watch what he does. So here comes the 1357. He does have backup, and these guys have turrets. Okay? Not turrets, but well, maybe they do. I don't know that. But anyway, they have turrets. And here comes the 1357. Now, watch what he does. This is great. There's a shot for you, and I could turn, but you know what? I don't care. He's busy shooting at other people. They have turrets, and whatever. I'll just drive in here, and we'll put a little shot on that guy. There's one for you. And what's the guy doing? Nope, he's just driving around like I thought, and there was no way he was going to take me out. He might have taken out the stirrup. Oh, there's another one for you, fella. And watch how fast this thing reloads. This was amazing. 1357 thinks I'm getting away. Nope, you're not. You're not getting away. So the point of all that is, instead of spinning around with the biggest gun they had and letting the KV-3 and potentially somebody else come around and hit him in the back and probably not get his gun on the 1357 anyway, he just let the 1357 get back there and these other guys could shoot at him for a while. Now, there might have come a point where he had to spin and do something, but he kind of kept an eye on it. He had shots of opportunity. The 1357 wasn't taking him down, and he dropped another, I don't know, 1,200 while that thing ran around, one on the KV-3 and another couple on the 1357 itself. I like the way he handled that. That was really nice. And I think it's probably a deeper subject and maybe an entire video, but what he also did not do there was panic, right? You didn't see his motions get crazy. He didn't miss opportunities of other shots. He was paying attention to what was going on in front of him. He didn't chase that thing around, spazzing out like, oh my gosh, I'm getting circled by a light tank. Sometimes that's in order and you have to do something, but I think in that case, good old Ziggurat did exactly what he needed to do, kept his gun down range, kept pounding people in the face, and was able to help take out the 1357, actually, based on what that guy did. Now, this actually got a little closer than you might have thought towards the end, but it's cleanup on aisle 2, and the enemy team, I guess Disturb S1's pretty good at hanging back and punishing people, but he's in a bad position because he's up there in the little compound up there. But the rest of the tanks aren't particularly great at camping, and I think the Super Hellcat's right here anyway, so he's about to die. And the other thing is the enemy team's Indian Panzer. I don't know if he actually was down in the south and fell back to here, but I suspect he was camping back here the whole time. That did not help the enemy team. Yeah, this looks like a bot or something. I don't know. Does he even shoot at him? He does shoot at him. But he doesn't appear to be particularly clever. There's another blap into him, and we're up to 5,311. Now, the Hellcat is trying to sneak over and take a shot at him. Actually did get a piece of him earlier. But gets pushed by the 25/2 and by Zig, and Zig moves on in there, and now we're hitting W. And this is where W is not quite as effective on a slow assault TD. End game, trying to gobble up hit points. He's going to have a hard time getting in here. But he actually does. It's a bit of a bummer on a bounce here. This guy pushes the WZ. I thought that was rushed a little bit, maybe. He just aims in. We're going to get a chunky in now, buddy. Boof. There we go. Another 383. And we're up to 5,694. Be really nice if we get this artillery out. Now, Zig's P-58 Mutts didn't particularly move up either, but he was at least close enough to have shots and be somewhat effective. Unlike the enemy's Indian Panzer, who was just kind of sitting, I don't know, somewhere back here doing a whole lot of nothing. Looks like Zig wants a piece of the Artie. Interesting. Maybe he's trying to maintain his options. The 54 Mod 1 is going to get gang tackled. The 4043 just fired. That's an interesting thing right there. If you can pay attention, if you look above the mini map, you can see that the M4043 just killed the T25/2. And if you've got the SA and a moment for your cross check to bring that part of the UI into your cross check, you can gain SA off of it going, oh, got it, the M4043 just killed someone. That means I have 30 to 40 seconds, 45, whatever it is that that thing does, depending on how it is set up equipment-wise. There he is. Oh, and unfortunately he's behind a building, the Super Hellcat, and the Artie gets the kill. How? There should be a shield. This wouldn't work, but I feel like there should be. There should be a shield that goes over enemy artillery when it's the last thing on the board and your artillery is about to kill it, because they just don't deserve that kill. I told you I'm feeling like a curmudgeon on Wednesday morning, all right? I am feeling like a curmudgeon. Hopefully that carries over to the stream today. I will be streaming today. I'm going to start about 8. I'm only going to be able to go for about 2.5 hours because, well, because I had a child's appointment scheduled on my day off. Thanks. Thanks, wife. Good job. Anyway, we've got to go look at orthodontics and whatnot. That is all I've got. Have a good Wednesday morning. We will see you.